Hi everyone, Reese Cooper here, and in today's video, I'm going to be speaking about pretty much a marketing machine and how a marketing machine helps PT clinics grow and scale the same way a car engine helps a car to move forward and a horse helps a carriage to go move. I wanted to break down this idea. I've been thinking about it for quite some time now. I spent a few days in the Kruger National Park, which is pretty much the wild plains of Africa here in South Africa, where lion eats other animals. There's tons of predators. There's big elephants and everything just roam free. And it's pretty crazy. And we were obviously driving on roads within the Kruger, but I kept on thinking, well, the only reason we're moving right now and the thing that we're all relying on is a car's engine and its ability to work, right? And the manufacturing of it, and yeah, pretty much that, right? And then it got me thinking, well, clinics actually, they rely on a marketing engine in order for growth and scale, but they don't really have anything. Most of the time, clinic owners right now, most clinic owners are kind of stuck in this place where they're relying on marketing strategies that are not proven for their clinic, that don't work 100% of the time, and they're not actually giving it the right feel and doing essentially the right tasks in order to make it work, right? So why I came to this conclusion was because I just signed my first client a couple weeks ago, got all the systems up and built in for his clinic, but essentially when he came to me, on that first strategy call that we had together, he told me he kind of outlined his his initial situation, where he was at right there and then. And so he outlined this to me and he told me, for marketing, he'd been doing four different kinds of social media. He'd been doing email marketing, he'd been doing workshops, he'd been doing discovery calls, he'd been trying to grow the referral tree, he'd been trying to interact with the community in any way he could, he'd been trying to reach out to doctors for referrals, and he'd basically been doing an absolute mess of marketing. And it's obviously not his fault, clinic owners didn't study marketing, right? Yeah, it's pretty much, a lot of the time I find clinic owners are in this guessing game. They're doing this guesswork and kind of hitting and hoping, It's like when you're about to, you're on your, let's say, third strike, or you're on your second strike within baseball, right? Now, I'm South African, not really 100% sure about baseball and how it works. But let's say you're on your second strike and you are the pitch is about to pitch and you've just got to hit and hope and swing and hope, if that, right? Maybe you'll miss it, but a lot of the time that is actually what happens is clinic owners and clinics, they swing and they miss the ball continuously because they're swinging and hoping. They're not relying on any kind of mechanics or practice or consistency or movement that they've trained in them to actually hit the ball. And so a lot of the time, where does this actually, leave clinic owners? Well, it leaves them, busy but not growing, right? And, you're kind of most likely in one of two situations right now. You're either unaware of no growth happening within your clinic and you're just working as hard as you possibly can. Or two, you are aware of the growth not happening in your clinic and you are aware of there's no growth or scale. Actually, things are not making sense. You're just kind of held at gunpoint to the massive loads of work that you do every single day, even Sundays, and you're not getting anywhere. It feels like you're on a hamster wheel running in the same place. Obviously, the first answer that I have for position one, which is not aware of any growth happening or no growth happening, you just become aware. Just honestly track everything, make sure that you understand that, oh wow, like despite all the work that you're doing, nothing is happening, you're not moving, and you are on that hamster wheel. And if you're in like the second position, it's this busy versus busy in a growth phase kind of this competition where a lot of clinic owners fall in the busy with no growth, but they still feel like it because they're so busy. They go, well, my clinic has to be growing because I'm so busy. And that's obviously not the truth, because what I outlined with like Maurice and his situation, for example, is that he was super busy doing every single thing he could, but it was seeing absolutely no growth, right? And so that's that just busy, that stagnant busy phase where you're doing everything and seeing absolutely nothing, no results, no, you feel like you're getting overworked and underpaid at the same time, right? So what is it that, so many of these clinic owners have that you maybe don't? Well, it's leverage. They have so much leverage on the marketing efforts that they do that they can make one piece of content and get 5 different people from that piece of content. They can get 5 clients in, or they can create one ad and they can get 10 or 20 evals booked in. Whereas you do one ad and you get one eval booked in, or you do one piece of content and you get a like or 2, but no one even comments, right? And so that's where you are right now. It's just you just have zero leverage. And in order to fix that, it's about employing a content system, or more so a patient acquisition system within the clinic, right? Which is obviously, as I always reiterate, it's the attraction, nurture, and conversion. It's those 3 systems within your clinic that create your ultimate patient acquisition system and ultimately get you the results and dreams that you want. They help you make your clinic the impact that you want with your clinic on the world. And they help you get to that really, really good point in life where work doesn't feel like, you have to drag yourself through the day. You don't feel burnt out. You feel like everything is sustainable and everything is controllable, more importantly. So the next point I kind of wanted to touch on was, why so many clinic owners are burning out right now and feeling burnt out because of marketing, right? And so obviously I touched on this just earlier in this video, but I want to dive a little bit deeper into it, right? And so in today's day and age, PT clinic owners just like yourself are essentially, you're under more pressure than ever before. And more importantly, you're not getting paid what you feel you are worth. And so, if I just look at the LinkedIn post that I wrote here, it's to grow a PT clinic requires not only insanely good patient care and patient experience, which is where most of you are actually focusing right now, but also a marketing machine bringing in consistent numbers of evals and new patients through the door every single month. That is a very important key factor to growth, consistency, and controllability within your clinic. The main issue that I've seen within kind of this big trend right now is that PT clinic owners are handling their own marketing and doing everything themselves. Did you sign up for marketing? Did you sign up to do marketing for your clinic? Is that what you went to school for? No. You signed up to be a person that made an impact on the world and made an impact on people one-to-one by helping them with their issues and their bodies, right? Helping their bodies and minds function, helping their emotional state and everything, right? What I mean by emotional state is obviously when someone's able to walk properly again, it makes them emotionally change and feel more at peace. So in a way, you help them play with their kids, you help them, do all sorts of fun things with their family, and that you unlock their ability to have a better life. But the original point here is that a lot of PT clinic owners are trying to do too much and trying to take on every single thing. You're trying to do marketing. You don't like marketing. You just know you have to do it, and you're just told consistently that you have to do it, which is true. But do you have to do it? That is completely up to you. You just have to know that life is full of trade-offs, and that if you, the clinic owner, decide to do marketing, what you are giving up is time with your family, your Sundays and weekends, and rest, essentially. Another point is, why a lot of good or great clinicians are still struggling with clinical growth. Why people can't grow their own clinics, even though they consider themselves within the top 1% of all clinicians within their country or area, for example, right? If you're in the States, if you're in Canada, if you're in Australia, if you're in the UK or Europe, and you consider yourself to be at least even in the top 5%, what's another reason for burnout is that you consider yourself to be that high and consider your clinical experience and the way people are treated and how well you guys are, how good you guys are at what you do as this top 5%, but does that equal the amount of growth that your clinic sees every single month? Because I'm willing to bet that your answer to that question is 100% no. You do not see an equal amount of growth compared to how good you consider yourself at your service, right? And so this is kind of just about breaking this belief of, the one belief that so many of you clinic owners share is that being better at your service is going to get you more clients. It's going to get you referrals, 100%. I'm not against that. I am actually for that, right? Believe it or not. I know I kind of encourage to not rely on referrals, and that's the only thing that I have negative to say about referrals, is don't become referral reliant. But so many of you guys share this belief of, oh, the better I do my service or the better experience people have, the more referrals, the more growth, da 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 da. Cool. That can only take you so far because, at a certain point, you're not going to be getting referrals as common as they used to be. It's kind of like an up and down monthly spiral thing. So it leaves you in a place of having to react to growth every single month. And that can only get you so far. I'm willing to bet that can get you to $20,000 a month, right? In revenue. Perfect. If you rely on referrals only, that is, right? And a lot of the clinic owners are, it says here in my LinkedIn post, it says that, a lot of clinic owners they're on the same page, but on the wrong page, even in the wrong book, right? You're not in the right book for how to grow your practice because you're doing everything that you think is going to grow your practice, but you're not doing what is actually going to grow your practice. You must remember that you have both what you think is going to work and what actually works, and you've got to opt in for this every single time. What actually works, what's proven time and time again, and that's the only path that you should be taking. And so all of this to say, there's a real hidden risk of running a clinic without a marketing engine. And, I see too many clinics running on referrals. They don't have a proper engine in place. They're dibble-dabbling in so many different marketing strategies and methods. Nothing's working. They feel the chaos. They're reactive every month instead of controllable and decisive with their growth and how they want to take the clinic. And they don't have the option to choose. You have to remember that being able to control your situation and being able to choose how your clinic grows in terms of how fast it grows, where it grows, and how it grows is actually it's something that you need to earn. It's not something that you do. It's something that you need to earn because you start off in this completely chaotic, crazy place where nothing works when you want it to, and nothing is tangible. It all feels so intangible. It feels so out there and like you can't touch it, right? Like, let's be completely honest right now. If you are watching this, you're most probably stuck between $15 or even $10 and $30,000 a month, right? That's your average revenue. There's somewhere in there you fall right there. So doing every single piece of marketing in the book, every single strategy, every method, you feel burnt out, you're seeing no results or even little results, and you're questioning me right now. You're probably saying, well, okay, cool, yes, I know you understand my situation. So you're probably asking yourself, this one question, and that's, what is the marketing engine, Reese? What actually is it? What does it mean? How do I do it? How do I install it? All of these questions. Great. They're great questions, by the way. I would be disappointed if you weren't asking yourself those questions. So let's dive in, right? So there are three parts to the system, and I've outlined and explained these parts in previous videos. But the three parts are the attraction, the nurture, and the conversion phases and systems, right? So what is the attraction phase exactly? So it is essentially the methods that you use in order to draw up attention online and actually attract people and clients or potential clients to your clinic, right? That could be anything from meta ads, social media, Google PPC, email marketing, workshops, doctor referrals-ish, but essentially this is everything. This is anything that you use to let people know that you exist. And so secondly, you have the nurture systems. Now, these are methods of actually nurturing the leads that you are able to collect from the attraction system, and it's the method of getting these people into the clinic doors. The attraction system needs to let people know that you exist. the nurture systems need to get the people to opt in for whatever you have, and actually get those people to the front doors and in the front doors of your clinic. And then lastly, we have the conversion systems. And these are just essentially the methods of converting those potential customers and potential clients into cash paying patients, right? And so it's the scripts you use, it's the way you talk to patients, it's the clinical experience. That's where the clinical experience and, how good you are as a clinician actually comes into play in terms of the patient acquisition systems. And so lastly, I just want to give you a few comparisons, a few analogies, so that you kind of understand exactly what I'm outlining here for you. And so let's dive into it, right? So for the attraction phase and the attraction systems, I'm going to quote this from my LinkedIn post, but this part of the engine is similar to a gas or petrol station putting gas or petrol into your car. Think of it as the flow of leads entering the marketing engine. And that could be, as I said before, meta ads, social media, Google PPC, email marketing, etc. Right? And we at K Point Consulting are noticing more money and impact being left on the table by clinics not exploring paid advertising. And wink wink, that is something that you should be exploring if you haven't already. And so the second part is obviously the nurture system. And this part of the car engine is the part that, guides and moves the gas or petrol into the right parts and places of the engine so that it can turn that gas or petrol into movement and energy. It can turn it into energy, right? And so the nurture, this is like the systems that surround the nurture phase these are the systems that essentially within the engine, they are designed to increase show-up rates, they're designed to increase, evals, appointments, retention, and then, perform slight conversion tactics, almost like the beginning of the conversion system by getting new evals into the right mindset before they enter the clinic, right? And then lastly, we have obviously the conversion system, and essentially this is the part of the engine in a car that is responsible for turning the gas or petrol into movement, and whether that's forwards, backwards, whichever way you choose. That is the sales process, that is the experience within the clinic, that is the interactions with clinic staff, the questions you ask prospects during evals, and so on. And so to wrap this video up, most clinics they're not growing because they are essentially, they have no marketing engine like the one that we have just defined previously in this video. They have no engine. They do everything random. It's a lot of guesswork. It's a lot of kind of hit and hope, as I mentioned earlier. Swing and hope, as I mentioned earlier, actually. And it leaves it all up to chance. And this kind of, you believe that it's fate or that it's the universe doing whatever it wants to do. You continue to believe that it will work, but it doesn't, right? Maybe you see getting one client from one workshop is a hell of a lot of work for very little outcome. And so that's where we need to start taking more accountability, more advantage, and actually get a proper system set up and installed into your clinic so that you can absolutely crush. Just on top of all of this, a bonus little tip here is that having a marketing engine with all three phases in actually increases the valuation of your clinic if you would like to ever sell in the future. It makes your clinic more valuable in terms of that it's a whole working machine that runs autonomously without you needing to intervene at any part, right? If you have PTs working for you, if you have PTAs, if you have a front desk, you need a marketing machine to feed all of those people. Feed the front desk the leads, the calls to make, the appointments to book. Feed the PTs people to serve and people to help so that they can make the impact that they want to make. Feed the PTAs a learning experience from the PTs. And essentially increase the valuation of your clinic without you having to work a single day in your life. And so, if you've resonated with this video and it sounds something like what you're experiencing right now and you would like to, further explore this, go ahead and schedule a call down below with either myself or one of my team members, and we can absolutely have a strategy session and kind of dive into this entire thing on a deeper level. Thank you guys for watching. Please go ahead and subscribe and leave comments down below if there's anything specific that you would like to see in future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.